website in the chat.
Yeah, I'm coming back from physical therapy, which is where I spend most of my time, unfortunately. So.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Friday Animal Welfare Leadership Roundup call. We are officially, gosh, I think two years, Mary? Is it 2 years yet into this? So we're so glad that you're here today. We have a packed agenda. It's great to see everyone. I know some of you are snowed in, so hope everyone is cozy. Today, I'm here with Bobby Mann, and before we kick it off, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Smith from Maddie's Fund for our welcome.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. So for those of you who have an abundance of snow, remember that snow days make everyone happy. So treat yourself to that. So a couple things you may have been wondering. So, hey, what about that grant giveaway? When is that going to happen? Actually, on February 1st, we are going to select the winners, and we'll announce the Friday winner next Friday and the Monday winner next Monday. So don't forget, each month you get to register for this. You can register as many times as you want. I mean, it's an open book. So please enjoy yourself. Make sure you don't miss that opportunity for you and your teams. And again, it's $5,000 that we're giving away a month for this call, and $5,000 a month we're giving away for the Monday call. So there's some webcasts coming up in February for Black History Month through CARE. CARE is also going to have a workshop on the 17th. Allison will post all of those links. Thank you so much, Allison, for doing that. Hey, you guys, I'm starting to get excited about Expo, which is kind of weird because I have like major fear about being in like big rooms with all of you, like in person. And I was thinking, like, how are we going to recognize each other if we only see each other from like the boobs up? So, I mean, like, will you all have fuzzy slippers on so I'll know that those are people that went to, you know, like the Friday calls or something? Like, should we have some kind of a, you know, sign that we can give each other? I'm just like, I'm crazy about the fact that we'll all be together, excited about it, fearful about it. And for those of you from HSUS, I'm taking you at your word that barring some kind of a, you know, zombie apocalypse, the in-person conference is actually going on April 19th in Orlando. So Brent's glowing cat ears on our heads. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. You know how much I love having like lighted things on my head. So I'm excited about this, you guys. And to be honest with you, it's probably one of the first things I've been excited about in 2022. I told you that I have a very much of a hate-hate relationship with the new year. And while I am going to therapy to work on that, it's hard for me to figure out what I am grateful for this new year. I keep thinking it should just be like the 13th month of 2021 or something. I may have to invent my own calendar, Bobby. I'm not really sure. But anyway, you guys actually bring such joy to us, to me personally and to Maddie's Fund. We love being part of these calls. We're so thankful that you're all here. I had a chance on Monday to go to the CEO forum at Cal Animals, and I connected with a woman who has a cat rescue group in Los Angeles. And she said, the Friday calls really made a huge difference in her life. It was like a lifeline. And she loves the job alikes, the philanthropy job alikes. So Brian, thank you very much. I don't think you're on this call, but I want to thank you. Thanks to Haas for creating those. It's just really a wonderful way for us to connect together and share experiences that we hold so dearly. So thank you all. Have a great weekend. And for those of you in LA, close your ears because I am going to say, go.
Well, that is a perfect segue. Bobby, do you want to just, for folks that don't know, do you want to just briefly share what the job likes are and how people can join?
Absolutely. Thanks for the love, Mary. I really appreciate it. So job alikes are actually peer groups. So we know that with the Haas Project, there are many working groups, about 30 different working groups, where their goal is to solve long-standing industry problems and create resources for the animal welfare community. I know you've seen many of those toolkits shared on this call. Job alikes are basically a lower barrier way for your staff to start networking and gain professional development with connecting with peers that are doing similar jobs. So we have an amazing behavior job alike that's hosted by Dr. Segerson. Kelly Dewar from Maddie's Fund hosts an amazing one on foster care. We're going to be launching one on customer service. We have one on philanthropy, field services. So make sure to check the link and please forward that to your staff, because we're having anywhere from 40 to 100 people joining some of these calls. And it's a great way for your folks to meet other people around the country doing very similar work.
Thank you so much, Bobby, and thanks for all your work to build those and everybody who's helping with those. Before we get started with our national org announcements, I just wanted to share something today because it came up in a meeting I was in with animal welfare leaders earlier in the week, and folks were describing how they sometimes feel like they're a fraud and they're not really skilled enough to do this work. And so we started talking about imposter syndrome. And if you haven't heard this term, this is our gift to you today, because it might make you feel a whole lot better if you have this. But imposter syndrome is used to describe high achieving people who have an inability to internalize their successes for fear of being exposed as a fraud. And this is actually really common in animal welfare. The term was first coined in the early 1970s to describe a phenomenon that was common among women in the workplace, but it's really common among animal welfare employees. So some of the common signs, just a couple of them: an inability to realistically assess your competence and skills, attributing your success to external factors, berating yourself and your work performance, fearing that you won't live up to expectations, et cetera. So if you do, does anybody on this call, is anybody hearing this and saying, yep, that definitely is how I feel? Okay, cool. So there are some really great resources for this because imposter syndrome actually holds us back a lot in our careers. So frog syndrome, no, that's a different thing. Nancy. So this is 10 steps to overcome it. But just a reminder to all of you that we all feel that way. A lot of us feel that way. And it's definitely, you're not alone if you do feel that way. And it has nothing to do with how amazing you really are. It's just something that happens. So we wanted to share that with you today, just so you can have a little encouragement if you do sometimes feel that you have imposter syndrome. Moving on now, though, we're going to talk to our national organizations who are on the call. If you are a national org, please go ahead and share now anything that you would like to share from your organization.
Hey guys, it's Chelsea at Petco Love. Just a friendly reminder, we have a National Pet Vaccination Month going on in March, and we have an informational webinar coming up this Wednesday, February 2nd, 1 p.m. Central. I will drop the link in the chat to register.
Hello, Kristen. It's Brent from Best Friends. Wanted to let everybody know that our town hall from last night, the first one of our new series to start the year, was on community supported sheltering. That will be posted up on the Best Friends Network page later this afternoon. And I also wanted to tee up that on February 10th, we will have the second installment, and it's called The Kittens Are Coming, preparing for your foster program ahead of kitten season, really hoping to get people out in front of kitten season this year. We know they're coming in March, April, May, depending on where you are. We might as well get planned for it now so we aren't surprised when they get here. So it's really going to be all about that preparation for what we know is coming. So I hope to see you there.
Following Brent on that, Maddie's Fund has a new challenge coming out in February. I'm just going to tease it here since we're all together. It's called We Foster Challenge. So perfect to help with what Brett was talking about with the animal, with the kitties. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, Stacy here with the Community Cats podcast. And this is the last call. Thanks to Maddie for being the premier sponsor of the online cat conference. We have like over 30 people attending the conference this weekend, meaning presenting. That's the presenters. And then we've got a couple hundred people that will be joining us, tuning in over the weekend. And it's an online cat conference. We start tonight with how to start a TNR program. Danielle Bays, I'm not sure if she's out there. She's going to do a Jeopardy-like cat advocate session. We have some incredible panels. John Dunn is even joining us to be part of a podcasters panel. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. Cat trivia. Again, thanks to Maddie and our other sponsors. We have some incredible sponsors. And go to the communitycatspodcast.com. You can see everything, see the schedule. This is my last call. And I hope I'll see you this weekend. They are being recorded, so the recordings will be available for a year's time. So if you can't join us this weekend, please record, please share, and let's just be all about cat this weekend.
Hello, everyone. It's Johnny Jenkins with CARE. It's good to see everybody. I'm usually lurking in the background, but I did want to share that CARE's R&D department recently got published in Frontier magazine. Thank you, Julie, for your assistance in all of this. I'll post a link on the website or on the chat, but the name of the article is Decolonizing Animal Welfare Through a Social Justice Framework. It's an opinion piece, so would love everybody to take a look at it. Have a great day.
Hey everybody, it's Kathy from Canada. Unlike Johnny, I'm usually not lurking in the background. Just promoting the Humane Canada's 2022 Summit for Animals coming up in the month of May. It will be hybrid and in-person. Early bird registrations available until the 4th of February. So sign up for slightly lower cost. And we hope to see you in Banff, Alberta in the middle of May. And maybe in Florida in April. Bye.
Good morning, everybody. Oh. Good morning, everybody. This is Jerica Owen from NACA. I just wanted to send a quick update. A couple of weeks ago, I shared in this meeting that NACA hosted a town hall to have an open discussion on our recently released appointment-based pet intake into shelters statement. The town hall was last week. We had over 160 register and 120 attend. So exciting. That's the first for NACA to have that much engagement. So we're really excited. The conversation was really balanced. It was a great conversation. I don't know how many of you were there, but thank you for everybody who was. We look forward to continuing the conversation. So stay tuned for more. And then the last thing I wanted to share is that we are seeking content contributors for our quarterly magazine. So we have 4 magazines that come out each year. If you have any stories or interested in advertising space, let me know. Looking forward to sharing all of these stories and seeing you all at Expo in my fuzzy slippers. Have a good day.
Hi, this is Dr. Sheila Segerson, Director of Research at Maddie's Fund. Dr. Carly Fawn of Best Friends and I had developed a survey to learn more about how shelters manage dogs who guard resources. This is a survey that Maddie's Fund put out and Best Friends has sent emails about back in November. We still would like to get more responses on that survey, though. We're going to be presenting a poster on it at Expo and have some really interesting results overall. So I'm going to put a link to that survey in the chat. If you're not sure whether your organization has completed the survey, please just shoot me an email and I can let you know whether you've already responded. Thank you.
Okay, I believe we have Claire Callison here. Claire is going to sort of bridge us to our first full topic for today, sharing a little bit about a webinar series she's working on and sharing a short video. So Claire.
I'm not sure if Claire's here, but I can do it. So Claire Collison and I did a kind of a last minute webcast series in response to the data from Pet Health on increasing length of stay and declining transports. The intention is to help shelters and rescues to start getting the wheels moving again with foster and adoption, and messaging, and help to message partnerships to the community and really increase support for those transports. We looked at child welfare and how they do recruitment. And we created a checklist for increasing foster and adoptive placements. It's not completely exhaustive, but there are some neat ideas in there, and ended up making a media kit. We worked with Source Shelter, Palm Valley Animal Society to help to create a document that helps transport partners to navigate working with them, and also helping transport partners to message to the community about their organization and the challenges that they face. So we have Faith right here, the Director of Operations from PVAS, and Allison has a quick video. Faith is going to narrate for us. It's going to be a really quick video, 3 minutes. I'm going to give you a little bit of a trigger warning. If you have a tissue nearby, you might want to grab it. It was not supposed to be sad. It's actually meant to be happy, but it is, but Allison.
It's just a lot of space, that's all. So this is the back of our shelter all the way to the front. We were just demonstrating how long and how much area our campus encompasses. We walk this at least 3 times a day. Every animal has eyes laid on them at least once, if not 2, 3, 4 times a day. And all of this is in the middle of Edinburgh. We're on Trenton Road, sorry. There are tarps and things down. It's because it's cold right now, so it's not always, looks like a tent camp all the time. It's our beautiful lobby. And then our cat room is right off the lobby, so the cats are completely separate than the dogs. These are our puppies. We have a puppy room as well for adoptions. And then we go into we have A and a B side. There's kennels. These are the half-size kennels, and then we have the full-size kennels. There's all our cute little puppies. They're so cute. Yes, we have portals. Yes, Pete, really, we have portals because of you. This is our little quarantine area for bike quarantine, but we are having to use it for moms and puppies and overflow. Then our cat rooms are here, so they're off of the main off of the main building. And then these are some more general housing. We have a play yard. It's a very large play yard, and it's actually getting used a lot right now. We're able to do play groups 7 days a week. That's been great. And then we've got more general housing. These were where our possums used to be. Thankfully, possums no longer need to be picked up and brought to us. They get to live free in the wild, so it's great. And then these are all many, many, many more general housing kennels. Unfortunately, this is our intake area, and these trucks have lined up a lot. This is about 3 times a day where they're stacked up this deep in. This is more general housing. These are where we try to keep our dogs that need to be alone, not alone, but general single housed. And we have put dividers in between so they cannot see each other. There used to be a lot of fence fighting that happened, and just, complete distrust with everything. And then we have 6 of these types of kennel runs. This is our pup ISO. These are the animals that are being evaluated for waiting for their PCR swabs to come back to make sure that they don't have distemper. And urgent pets, a lot of people think these are where they're going to be euthanized, but it's not. These are also adult dogs just waiting for their PCR test to come back. And then we've got up front, we do have, like I said, the cat adoptions. We had to close due to COVID. We lost an entire team of people due to COVID. So we had to move all of our cats over to our Andrews facility, but they're back now. We're beginning to adopt out. And this is our other side of adoptions. This is adoption B side. Every animal at our shelter is available for adoption. We just have limited ability to be able to show every single animal in the upfront area. So we walk people all around the whole campus. It can take people, there's Sydney. It can take people 2-3 hours to even walk through the entire campus to look at every animal that we have available for adoption. And then we do have our other facility at Andrews, which is off of the highway. It's a very nice facility. This is Pebbles. If anybody's interested in Pebbles, she's the most amazing dog in the whole world. She's got hip dysplasia, so she's been just sitting there for a while. And Leonardo, he's awesome too. So we have some great animals. Somebody is asking how many we have. We have about 600 dogs at any given time between the 2 facilities, and about 200 cats. And then we have about 300 in foster. Yeah, Donna, about 1,000 animals total.
It gets me every time that they have 1,000 animals on site, or they're caring for that many animals, and Faith can name the animals at the end of this video.
I love them all. We all love them. The team works hard. This is an amazing team.
You've heard us talk a lot about Palm Valley, and it's a shelter that's pretty hard. It's pretty far away. Can be a difficult one to transport from unless they go by plane. But it's a huge volume of animals, and almost entirely super highly adoptable animals, and well socialized, and they still need more help. And until we solve Palm Valley, we have not solved the problem of regional oversupply that needs to be transported other places. So the whole Central Valley of Texas is in a similar situation. So if you are an org who's on here that can help or wants to help, please, Faith will put her email in the chat, please reach out. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing. And Kelly, I don't know why I said Claire. What's important to know is that Claire is part of a two-part webcast that's happening. The first part happened, I think, yesterday on transport. And it's really a new vision for transport with protocols that help get those animals out. So things like, instead of choosing animal by animal, organizations have partnerships where they choose a group of animals to take to transport, things that can really save time and resources on either end. So really worth watching, but thank you, Kelly. We're going to move on now to Sarah Hernandez, and she is here today to talk about an upcoming conference that you don't want to miss. We've registered several people, so Sarah, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am Sarah Hernandez. I'm the communications fellow for My Dog Is My Home. We also have the delightful and amazing Dana Teal, who is our animal care liaison. She's highly involved with our conference and our co-sheltering collaborative, so she's here to help out with questions as well. So, okay, let's get started. Let's see. Share. Aha. Okay. So here at My Dog Is My Home, we are a national nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving the human-animal bond in circumstances of homelessness. Our mission is to increase access to shelter and housing for people experiencing homelessness with companion animals. We are a primarily volunteer-run organization that includes our staff and our board of directors. And we exist to be capacity builders. We assist homeless services providers with transitioning to a pet-friendly model. Here at My Dog Is My Home, we have 4 major programs. And the first is our annual co-sheltering conference, which I will talk about in a moment. Our co-sheltering collaborative is a peer-to-peer learning network of organizations and academics, for example, dedicated to keeping human and animal family members together. And the collaborative has 4 calls a year on Thursdays. These calls are like a miniature conference, an opportunity to hear presentations and conduct dialogue, kind of in the same spirit as the Maddie's calls. And we also have an online platform for collaborative members, and we have virtual working groups such as the Resources and Staff Training Group and the Racial Justice Group. Our third program is our storytelling program. If you have any questions about that, I'm heavily involved with that. It's rooted in the belief that qualitative data is as important to our mission as quantitative data. And the objective of the program is to empower people with lived experience of homelessness who have companion animals to tell their own stories and to be their own advocates. And at My Dog Is My Home, we recognize that these are the people who are the true experts who understand the complexity of homelessness and can also be a vital voice for animals as well. We also welcome the stories of their family, friends, and allies. And our fourth program is we offer technical assistance. We provide trainings and resource coordination for shelters that request support with the transition to co-sheltering. Our co-sheltering conference, thank you for being here to learn more about it. It's a 3-day virtual event, and it's dedicated to the emerging practices in sheltering people experiencing homelessness with their animals together. Last year's conference was our inaugural conference, and it was a success, so we are back for more this year. This year's is right around the corner from March 1st through the 3rd. We are sponsored by Maddie's Fund. Thank you, Maddie's Fund, PetSmart Charities, and Urban Resource Institute. And this year's theme is Stronger Together, Building Allyship Between Movements. We will highlight how different social movements intersect, the collaboration of champions from many different disciplines, and how the co-sheltering of people and animals together fits into the wider struggle for a more just society. We have many exciting keynote speakers and guest speakers, and they include Julian Castro, who's the former Housing and Urban Development Secretary under President Barack Obama and the former mayor of San Antonio, Texas. We have Sterling Davis, the founder of Trap King Humane Cat Solutions. We have Dr. Quan Stewart of Project Street Vet and the Street Vet television series. Dorothy Edwards, who is a member of the National Board of Directors for the Corporation for Supportive Housing, and she is an individual with lived experience of homelessness. We have Vicki Ramirez of the University of Washington Center for One Health Research, Kristen Baltram of Annie and Millie's Place, Willie Baronet of We Are All Homeless, and many more on our website and to be announced. And in addition to these keynote and guest speakers, we have storytelling segments throughout the conference, opportunities for interaction with each other, and many giveaways, including delicious food and treats for your animal family members.
Sarah, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I think you're still on your home slide, the first slide.
I think, hold on. I don't know if I'm trying to, oh, there we go. Ah, yeah, thank you. Here, I'll move. Okay, I'll show you our next one. Let's see. All right, we are stronger. There's a picture. Thank you. Inclusivity is central to the idea of co-sheltering. So our conference is about welcoming people of all backgrounds. We finished our early bird sales the other week. That was a success. Thank you for that. But we also have student rates and many scholarships available, also thanks to Maddie's fund. But the scholarships are not just for students. We encourage everyone to apply, including animal welfare workers and social services workers and people with lived experience. Here you can see, here's our whole list of, well, so far of speakers. If you cannot attend the sessions live, most will be recorded, and we will email the viewing links to anyone who registers for the conference about a month after the conference. Right now, you can get tickets today on Eventbrite. And also there's more information on our website. We'll make sure you have all that info in the chat box. The scholarship applications are also available on Eventbrite and on our website. And we look forward to having you at the conference and being involved with My Dog is My Home. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'll give you my email address as well. Thank you so much. Dana, please weigh in if I missed anything.
No, that sounded great. Thank you.
Thanks. You can go ahead and unshare your screen. There you go. Thank you so much for sharing this, Sarah. Is there any sort of staff members you think in animal shelters that would really benefit from this? Is it sort of anyone that's interfacing with the public?
Yeah, that's a very good question. My Dog is My Home. I mean, the central tenet is inclusivity, and actually we behind the scenes are very well represented with diverse backgrounds. I come from the world of film entertainment. I'm switching gears. So I would say, Dana, please weigh in, but we're open to anyone with interest and passion for this idea. We think different vantage points and different stories are helpful to the mission of co-sheltering.
One of the things I was thinking is maybe this would be a good place for volunteers who are really interested in this work, who may want to start their own mini organizations or start something within the shelter system. That would be good. And then also for advocates who are critical of people experiencing homelessness owning pets, I don't think there could be a better way for people to overcome some of their own bias than to really participate in this conference. Do you think it's appropriate for both those groups?
Yes, we welcome everybody. We've actually been getting some feedback regarding bias. No, we've been getting some feedback from last year's conference, mostly overwhelmingly positive and a little bit critical. And we want we want to open hearts and minds and engage different perspectives. So yes.
Great. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the work that you do. Okay, well, we're going to turn now to a very big announcement today. We're happy to be bringing this to the Friday call because it is huge. So I'll turn it over to Drs. Hurley and Levy to share this news with you all.
Thank you. It's exciting news to share. And I have a few slides that I wanted to share. And I'll be steering the slides, but Julie and I will be co-presenting this new announcement. It rhymes with Fillion. So I like the way you think, Sarah. Screen. But it's as Mary mentioned, it's been kind of a struggly month and a struggly couple of years where it just seems like things are some struggles have been going on forever. And so maybe I would start with a little context of this is a depressing pair of slides from a depressing talk that I used to give 10 years ago that showed the trend for the blue bars are live release and the purple bars are intake for cats at my local shelter. And it was just going up. The intake was going up year by year by year, and live release was staying about the same. And the lower picture is the housing for cats at that shelter. And I don't know how many people were in animal welfare at that time, 10 years. A fair number of people raising their hands. And I just wanted to, I think it's worth sometimes like remembering some of the things. It's moving to see so many hands going up. Just remembering how things were. And I can remember looking at cat cages that looked like this, and it just felt so hard and hopeless to me at times. And in light of that, like, who knew the magnitude of change that was just a few years in our future? This is a video of basically my favorite minute of my entire life when we made the announcement that the challenge had surpassed the 1 million cat mark. And I'm just gonna play a little bit of this moment for those who weren't there, to relive it for those who were.
Dr. Hurley, I don't think that we have sound. So if you unshare and then try to reshare, there's a little box that you'll check that says share computer audio.
Let me recheck it. This share sound optimized for video clip. Let's try that. I'm just going to keep playing. Did that work?
The video did, and it was nice to see a lot of people in a room without masks.
It was really
celebrating
cute.
something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't have sound, which is a bummer because I have another video that has some cute sound, but we will just go with that. Somebody said, can I narrate what occurred? Let's see, am I sharing my screen now? I'm having a problem where now the video is disappearing when I try to share my screen.
You're not.
Technical difficulties. Oh, I see what's happening. Hang on, what is that? When I optimize for video clip, it makes all your faces disappear. I don't want to do that. So, we will just go with this. Whoops. And I will say this part. I mean, that was the million cat calibration for when we passed 1 million. I'm wearing my t-shirt from that day that has the number. But of course, now we have surpassed 3.6 million. And I'll be verklempt when I say this. That's 1,799 cats a day. That's 75 cats an hour. If that was 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So that's more than a cat a minute. Not just lives that were saved, but euthanasias that a shelter staff member didn't have to do. Already this morning, hundreds of cats already today. And I think it's good to look back on some of the amazing progress that we've made to energize us for the amazing progress that is yet to come. And I think one of the reasons why the Million Cat Challenge was successful, and not that we invented any of this, but that we as a profession succeeded in this way, is that we didn't tackle just one thing. We really developed a holistic approach. We provided shelters with tools that supported cats in the community, that supported cats in the shelter, and that created new and larger pathways for cats to leave the shelter alive. And those things fed each other. When we did a better job of keeping cats safe in their homes in the community, when we managed the time at which they entered the shelter, then there was better conditions in the shelter, and then it was easier to keep the cats healthy and happy and get them out the door alive. And that fed into better conditions in the shelter and more resources to keep cats safe where they were. So then we had the exciting task of trying to come up with something to follow on the incredible success of our whole profession in achieving this goal. And really wanting to capture what we learned. And ironically, and sort of unbelievably, in some ways, like what we figured out with cats now can come back and benefit other animals that are at risk of coming into shelters and inform the way that we sort of respond to community needs in general. And I think this probably won't play with sound either, but just enjoy the little video show. Hum along a jaunty tune that has a bass line that sounds like a tomcat purring. Oh, I wanted to add, like, combined with what we learned from the Million Cat Challenge was what we learned from the pandemic, from the protests, from the reckoning with racial and social justice of the last few years, and just like the explosion of learning and thinking that has happened over the last couple of years in animal sheltering. Isn't that fun? Could you hear that?
Yes.
So we've grown the team, we've grown the vision, and we have reframed the 5 key initiatives, borrowing again from human healthcare, which the 100,000 Lives campaign to reduce hospital-associated deaths by 100,000 was the inspiration for the Million Cat Challenge. And this is a concept that we ran across sort of early in the pandemic that has become implemented in the healthcare sector with a lot of benefits. The idea of providing patients with the right care at the right time in the right place, and the recognition that for patients in hospitals too, sometimes the right place is to not come into the hospital, but to get the help to stay healthy or to be cared for in the person's home or have a telehealth visit. And then that creates the space in the hospital system to create care, to provide care for the people who really need it. We added a 4th right, which is the right outcome. And these are the foundational principles of the Million Pet Challenge, which is also inclusive of dogs and bunnies and the other animals that enter shelters. We're going to have a series of webinars starting next month on each of the 4 rights, but I just wanted to give a really quick view of how they sort of have integrated the 5 key initiatives, the Million Cat Challenge, and work together. So serving animals in the right place sort of takes alternatives to intake, but grows it, recognizing that it's not just about sort of regulating intake into the shelter, but that animals have homes, and it's better if they stay in those homes. And if they can't stay in those homes, it's better if they stay in foster homes. But that generally solving problems for animals in their community or neighborhood or street of origin often works better for the animal and the people involved. The right time is not only when animals come into the shelter, but also how long they spend in the shelter, pathway planning from before intake to the point of outcome. And also the right time for people, making appointments for other things than admission to the shelter, making it convenient for people, and lowering wait times, making it work better for staff as well, and for the animals. The right care, including the animals in the shelter, but also including access to care in the community. So that's a brand new element of the Maddie's Million Pet Challenge, building on the Million Cat Challenge. And care for people, the people actually doing the work in the shelter. And then the right outcome, removing barriers to adoption, embracing return to field as truly returned home for cats that already live in communities and have relationships with people. Recognizing that the best outcome for an animal that has a home is return to that home, so robust return to owner programs for dogs. And recognizing that the right outcome sometimes is adoption locally where that's possible, really thinking about reaching out to new communities of adopters in our communities, and decision support for making hard decisions when the right outcome might be euthanasia of an animal that's dangerous, whose suffering can't be remedied, really supporting each other in how to make those decisions responsibly and humanely. So a whole lot of stuff. I didn't even say, I'm sure I didn't even say it all. I'm going to turn it over to Julie now to remind me of what else we meant to say in this part of it, but just some of the things that are incorporated in the content of the Maddie's Million Pet Challenge, and then we'll talk a little bit about the methodology. Julie, are you good?
Thank you, Kate. Yes, I know a lot of friends here that I see from the Million Cat Challenge that started back in 2014. And after 8 years, we're here today to build on what we learned. And one of the things we learned when we were in shelters working on consults is it's impossible to separate out the function addressing cats with those of dogs. They're also interrelated, because if one part of a shelter is needing help, it impacts all of the others. So we've been working with dogs on our comprehensive consults. Another thing that has always been the case in our industry, but is really amplified during the COVID pandemic, is stress and burnout of staff. They do hard work. This is trauma exposed work, and we need to bump up our support for staff and improve organizational capacity to have more well-being in the workplace. And so, and then one third thing that we've observed in our work with shelters is that we make a lot of recommendation for intake diversion and helping support pet owners keeping their pets in the home through providing medical care and other services. And then shelters would immediately come up against a wall of the veterinary care shortage. And that great recommendation, Julie, but there's no vets in our area. We don't have a spay neuter clinic in our area. Like none of that can be implemented. And so we have built up our new program, which is Maddie's Million Pet Challenge. And thanks to Maddie for making this huge 5-year program possible with a greater team now. We have brought in the team, Sarah Pisano from Team Shelter USA to do comprehensive consultations. And a new star in this whole endeavor is Amy St. Arnaud and Heather Camisa, and their company, Open Door Veterinary Collective. Their whole reason for being is to help mentor veterinary clinics, both nonprofit and for-profit, to increase access to care any way that is financially sustainable. And they've got some really novel ways. This does not rely just on donations and grants. It's a way of running the business that keeps it soluble, but also allows for very strong support for families that need it to get the access they care that they need. Jessica Dolce is also a new addition to this program. She is a certified compassion fatigue educator, and she is bringing a whole series of options for animal welfare organizations to address well-being in their organizations. And this, importantly, does not just focus on the individual personnel trying to solve this for themselves, but also addressing issues at the organizational level that creates more supportive work environments and more resilient work environments, because it's not really fair just to tell everybody to solve their own problems if they're working in an environment that is impossible. And then with the UC Davis team is launching the Learniverse, which is an online educational initiative for coached boot camps, where cohorts of shelter staff go through a specific training program, as well as a lot of on-demand work with that shelters and others can take. And then excitingly, we have our first big event that will be a dog conference. Or no, here, sorry. Okay, I'm not watching the next slides. This is we have a new website. It's Maddie's millionpetchallenge.org, where you will find descriptions of all of our work. And these are clips from the website that describe what the different programs are that we've developed and how to apply. So these are all made available at no cost to shelters and veterinary clinics. And there are applications on there. And that, again, is thanks to very generous support from Maddie's fund. So please do go explore our website. There's a lot of really innovative and new, fresh opportunities. And our exciting first big event is addressing an issue that we're hearing about a lot. And this originally came kind of through frustrated veterinary discussions, where veterinarians felt that their shelters were getting crowded. Big dogs and medium dogs are staying too long. They were starting to develop behavior problems, and they didn't feel like they knew how to navigate dog assessment. Should they be doing assessments, or how to know what the best outcome for a dog was? But they knew things weren't going right. They just didn't feel like they had solutions. And so this has now rapidly grown into, oh, and then combined with trends across the pandemic sheltering time, in which we're now seeing that shelter length of stay is going up, especially for medium and big dogs. It's going up even more for the bully breeds. And so that's causing shelter crowding, and then that creates behavior issues and spread of disease that we see, especially in the southern shelters. And really relying on the shelter to be the facility or the institution where all dogs live is not serving dogs as well as some other ideas that have come up with moving more dogs into foster homes and developing more programs directly targeted to them. So we have created a 2-day virtual free conference at the end of March. You can see the link at the bottom of the page. It's our website, Big Dog Masterclass. I think Allison will probably put that in the chat. Please sign up. The space is limited, but we're going to try to accommodate as many people as possible. There will be CE credit for AHA, NACA, and hopefully RACE for veterinarians. And I wanted just to call out a couple of the keynote speakers. We have 15 different speakers. When you go to that webpage, you will see all of the speakers. But one is the exciting person that is going to be speaking, opening on the first day, is Janice Bradley. She and Gary Petronic have spent 50 years researching dog assessments and dog trends about behavioral incompatibilities and relinquishment to shelters. And they have a lot of myth busting to do with us. That is going to be very, very interesting to support new ways that we look at assessing dogs and their behavior. And then on Wednesday, Dr. Sheila Segerson from Maddie's Fund will be opening the session with a trauma-informed approach to understanding shelter dogs. And I've heard her speak on this. She spoke for veterinary students. And it's this mind-blowing lens through which to think about dogs and their experience in shelters, and about trauma they may have had before they came to shelters, and then ongoing trauma that they receive in shelters, and how this correlates scientifically with childhood trauma in people and their influences on behavior and reactivity later in life. So this is going to be a very actionable conference. This is not theoretical, high level. This is from people who are implementing programs in shelters and having dramatic impact. So we're hoping to see you all there and to have you help spread the word about this conference.
I think that's it. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can drop the links into the chat to sign up to apply for any of our great programs and to sign up for our newsletter.
Looks like we have some questions in the chat.
Kristen, excuse me, Kate, I just wanted to mention too, the webinar's on the 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern. The link is in the chat to the introduction to MMPC to learn all about it.
Nancy McKinney asked, Dr. Hurley, can you share if the shelter medicine program is thinking about and coming up with solutions with the ongoing shortage of veterinarians and vet techs?
Do you want to respond to that one?
Yeah, this is a serious issue across all of veterinary medicine, private practice, public practice, shelter practice, nonprofit practice. There is a critical shortage of veterinary workforce. It's veterinarians and veterinarian technicians. And so if you have a veterinarian, send them a cake today, because you need to keep them and you need to keep them healthy. And it's there's a lot, you probably read about a lot of strain on the veterinary profession in general. Again, these helping professions take on a lot of moral stress. And during COVID, it has gotten much, much worse for a number of reasons. And having a short workforce just means that the people who do show up are getting burned out even more and more. So the sad thing is there is not a short-term fix for this. The veterinary schools are starting to add seats to, we're going up from, we're adding 30 seats in our veterinary school, but that is going to be 5 years before those people start trickling out into the workforce. I think we struggle sometimes with making shelter jobs and nonprofit access to care jobs attractive, or making them good work environments. They need to be competitive with salary and benefits, but also a pleasant place to work. And if I know there, at least in shelters, directors and veterinarians are not always on the same page, and they need to work towards a shared vision and to understand each other. I think vets sometimes don't understand everything that a director has to be thinking about with funding and public policy and HR and all of that. And on the other side, I don't think directors always understand what veterinarians are worried about in terms of safety and welfare of staff and the animals, and how much work can be done. So go talk to your vet, bring them a coffee and ask them how you can help, because they're being recruited every day. You may not know it, but our vet discussion groups are full of, come work for us. We've got 3-day week, no on call, $1 million. Come when you want. You know, there's just, you're competing against very wealthy and well-funded, smart corporate practices that also are struggling to find veterinarians. One thing about, I think shelters could do more to consider new grads to hire. If it's your only vet, that may not be a great idea, but if you've got one more vet that can be a mentor, really looking into new grads. A big mistake a lot of shelters have is their HR department won't even accept an application if they're not already graduated and licensed. And our senior veterinary students are pretty much committing to jobs by December before they graduate. So if you are not entertaining applications from people who will be available in 6 months, you're missing out on all of the new grads, and they are being snapped up. There is an initiative, it's a long-term one that I'm really excited about, which would be to create a position of like a physician assistant or nurse practitioner who can perform more veterinary duties under the direction of a veterinarian. And I hope before I die that I will have an opportunity to train technicians to do routine spays and neuters under the direction of a veterinarian. That kind of work would really lighten the load of the vets so that they can do the more complex things and work on establishing protocols. That is nowhere near close. And it is obviously not going to be well received. And so there will have to be a lot of vet board laws changed for that. But there already is a program being piloted, just started at Lincoln Memorial University to go down this road of training veterinary mid-level practitioners. So we all need to support that. The other thing we need to support strongly in an organized way is telemedicine that can be used to establish a veterinary client-patient relationship. Right now, in most states, a veterinarian cannot treat an animal with telemedicine unless they've laid hands on it in person, often once a year. There's a battle in Florida right now. If you are in Florida, please try to support the bill that is going through right now that would allow veterinarians to establish a VCPR without seeing the animal in person. They can see them by video. And I believe veterinarians, I trust them to know when that is right. MDs can do it. Nurse practitioners can do it. Veterinarians are not allowed to do it. And those folks take care of a lot of people, human patients that don't talk. So they take care of babies, they take care of nonverbal adults or people with dementia. And it is a huge asset to be able to deliver care remotely when needed. And of course, we can think of all kinds of ways that, you know, for cats that are terrified of the vet, or if you want to see an animal really evaluate its lameness, you're going to see it better in a video at home than you are when that nervous animal is in your practice.
Okay, Dr. Lever, I'm so sorry. We are at time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I could talk about this forever. If you're in Florida, call your rep and tell them you support this, because the FVMA is organizing a campaign against it.
Well, we're going to continue this conversation next week, and I hope you'll be here, Dr. Levy. Mike Greenberg and Sue Neal are going to come and share their new website that just went up, which shows the disparity in access to veterinary care. So we're going to be continuing talking about this next week. Please join us then. Also, remember, we're going to be announcing the winners of the Maddie's Fund grant giveaways. And so I don't know if you have to be here to get your grant, but since we're not sure, it's better to be here. Come and join us next week. So excited about that. Thanks so much to Maddie's Fund for keeping these going. And thanks for everybody for coming together this week. And we'll see you next week.